All right, guys. So I am super excited. We have Pam Sowder, our Chief Networking Officer. She's literally incredible. She just released her first book, which I literally just got yesterday, and I'm so excited for it. This is going to be so incredible. She is honestly like my personal mentor, and she doesn't even know it. That's kind of just where we're at. And, I look up to you so much because of your money mindset. And I know that that mindset is what's going to take us all to the next level because truthfully, my team has no problem working. They know what to do. They know how to work hard. We don't like to grind. We like it to be smooth. And so I just know that you're going to blow everyone's mind tonight. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and I'm just going to jump in from like lower level to higher level. I think you're unmuted, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. So kind of a lower level question. How do you overcome the obstacle of not signing any distributors when you're doing all the work that needs to be done and doing personal development?
Okay. First of all, love the top you have on, the sweater. Very, very cute. And hello, everyone. Happy New Year. Yes, 2021. All right. So we're not getting into distributors. There's something within you that feels that the opportunity is perhaps not working for you. So what happens is whenever I was in this type of predicament, I remember, especially in my early years, I would wonder what's wrong with me. Everybody else is getting all these people, blah, blah, blah. But then when I met with them, when I actually met them or met with them or heard them through a Zoom like this, in the past, it was just a call, a conference call, but I could hear the inflection in their voice. I could feel the energy come through the phone that they were convicted. They believed in their opportunity 100%. They knew that what they had to offer to the public was worthy, was worth it, and that they should take a look at it, at least bare minimum, take a look at it. So this is an inside job. If you're doing personal development, then go deeper within yourself and decide, what is it about me? Take a look, get really quiet and take a look and have your pen and paper and say, what is it about me that doesn't believe in what I'm doing? Doesn't believe in my offer? Because a lot of people love the products, sell the heck out of the products, but never offer the opportunity. That their customers don't even have a clue that that opportunity is there, because they feel less than about the opportunity. Maybe they haven't really made a lot of money. Maybe they haven't had a promotion. Well, none of us have money or the promotion until we have the money and the promotion. But what comes before that is that conviction and that belief and that strong desire that this is going to work for me. Yeah, I believe, like, do a deep dive into the compensation plan and understand the value of it. Follow people like Christy who are absolutely kicking it and increasing her check. Her checks alone for last year were so powerful. So the difference between Christy and whoever asked this question is she believes wholeheartedly, but I can guarantee you she believed from day one, this could change my life. This could be it. Now, for me, when I first started in the industry, I had a strong disbelief in myself. I saw people making money. I felt, wow, I joined because I saw the potential, but I didn't have any belief in myself. I didn't know if people would actually listen to me. I didn't know if people would say yes. I was so afraid of the no. What are they going to think? All of those things going through my mind. And I had to do a really quick check on those thoughts. And then I had to transfer those thoughts into dreams. You know what, Pam? You got to dream bigger. You've got to dream outside of just this $100 a month that you want or $1,000 a month that you want. I mean, this is an opportunity you need to really go for. So this is an inside job. Good news. It's not the outside that you need to worry about. It's the inside, which is all that you, everywhere you, that's all you have. Your power is within you. And so we don't have to try to change the masses. We don't have to try to coerce. We don't have to sell. We don't have to grind. We don't have to have grit. I mean, let's do this with ease, simplicity, and a lot of fun. And that is, dack on it. I am so tired of where I'm at. I don't want these thoughts anymore. I want to believe in myself. I want to believe more in the opportunity, but that comes with taking that first step, which is right now writing down what you're afraid of, confronting it and saying, you know what, no more will I do this. No more will I tolerate this within me. If there is one person in this world that is making money with It Works, that means tens of thousands, if not millions, can also. That's the bottom line to that. Great question.
I love that. Okay, so the next one, which I've heard you talk about this before, and you, I feel like, have kind of mastered this right in the beginning, and I think it's super powerful. So, somebody asked, I've struggled with balance for a really long time. When I'm winning in my business, my family life suffers. When my family and I are spending enough time and doing all the things, I find myself slacking in my business. Am I doing something wrong here?
No, you're not. You're actually right where you think you should be. And that is, I can't have both. And when you think I can't have a family and a business at the same time, then you're going to struggle in both areas. You're going to have that guilt of, I'm guilty when I'm working, I'm guilty when I'm not working. And so, I love that you mentioned my book. In the book, I really address this in so many different ways because I went through this as well. When I first got started, I was not that out of the gate person. It took me 6 months to even overcome myself and really start. I think this is what makes me so good at understanding these questions is I've lived through every single one of them. I've had to go through this journey myself and overcome so many different things. And that's why I tell everybody, just get over yourself, because really that's what we need to do. And one of them was, I didn't feel like I could have it all. I didn't feel like I could have the business. I didn't feel like I could have the family, and I didn't feel like I could have the same friendships. And in all three areas, and I didn't feel like I could have my health. I didn't feel like I could work out. I didn't feel like I could take the time that I had to focus, focus, focus. I had to pour all my energy into my business when I finally just fell head over heels over it and knew, wow, this industry could change my life. And so I did this. I immersed myself into the business, and until my husband blew a gasket one morning. This is back when we were using phones 100% of the time, and I got a call early in the morning. We were having breakfast. The kids had just left. And we were having a great conversation, and the phone rang, and I took it over. Man, you talk about having a conversation with your husband over breakfast, kind of monotone. You get on the phone with your newest distributor who's hyped over the day, and you're like animated, you're all in. You're like, let's do this thing. And he's sitting over there going, she doesn't talk to me like that. As a matter of fact, all she does is stay on her phone. I'm just so sick and tired of that. And I could see the steam coming out of his ears. I mean, I really could. I could feel the energy and the blood just boiling. And so I said, Lisa, I got to get off the phone. I'll call you back. And he slammed his fist down on the kitchen table and said, I've had enough. You care more about this business than you do about us. And I really had to take a step back and had to be really honest and say, yeah, you're right. You know what? I do. At this point in my life, I really do, because I believe in where I can take this. I believe that I can build this business out for our family. And I just totally fell in love with it. I call it the honeymoon effect. You just fall so rapidly in love with it. And then I knew at that point, I didn't want to get to the top and not have a family. I didn't want to get to the top and not have my friendships. So I knew that I needed to create my day. I needed to create a day that would involve all aspects of my life. And that is, I needed to map it out. You know, we have total control here. And we don't have to give up anything. As a matter of fact, when you decide on the type of day that you want and you live in that day, you truly live in it, your world will transform. Because I'm 26 plus years into this industry. And I have a husband of 40 years. I have beautiful children and grandchildren and friends for 40 plus years. And so I know that if I can do an about face that I did that morning and make those executive decisions for my family and my business, you can too. And my business exploded because of it, because I set parameters. You know, I'm not going to pick up the phone at 7:30 in the morning. I am going to spend conscious time with my family, getting them off to school. And then I'm actually going to read an inspirational book, a chapter out of it, at least 30 minutes, feed my mind, get it right in the right direction. And I even at that point would get up early to be able to do that. So then I could go to the gym and I could work out because it was important to me to work out to keep my body in health. And because I realized I was declining, I was stressful, my adrenals felt fatigued, I was stressed out, but in a way that was so happy and hyper and fun. I can't explain it, but I was going to burn out eventually. Everything was going to burn out. And then I mapped out my day after that, after I took care of the house, you know, got the laundry going, got the house in order. I actually worked my business from 12 to 3 and maximized those 3 hours to the fullest. I didn't piddle around. I didn't stroll like today's world. You would be messing around in Facebook or Instagram and losing valuable time and energy and money. And so I honed in on that business between those hours. And then again at night, I would come back in to my business after the kids got home, after I took care of the family. And I built a multi-million dollar business in 6 hours a day. In 6 hours a day, I was able to do that and maintain my family and my quality of living and make millions more. And I believe with today's technology that I could cut that time in half because I was utilizing either one-on-one in front of somebody or a telephone that you actually had to pick up. And I know that I can because I've increased the wealth over the years that Facebook and Instagram and the technology that we have, such as what we're using today, Zoom, to empower even more people. So, you know, you need to get over the fact that you can't have it all because I assure you, you can. But you set the parameters, you decide what your business looks like, and you stay within them. And when I told my team, I am not available to you and unless it's through these hours, they decided they wanted that too. I actually recruited more people because they wanted that kind of life. My distributors felt, oh, I don't have to work all day long, all night to get what I want. I want to live her life. So yes, let's go for it, but let's make the decision that we are not going to use our family. We are not going to use our friendships. We're not going to use our time as an excuse to make money, to not make money. We are going to utilize them as the catalyst to make money, but do it in our time frame.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much. I always tell everybody you can have it all because at the end of the day, you don't want to be on your deathbed with billions and nobody around you. Like that's just the
No.
truth, you know, that's just the truth. So I love this question too. So what are some ways to get rid of a negative money mindset? I don't even feel like I'm worthy and I could make $5,000 in this business.
Wow, you know, all right, so who even comes up with we're not worthy? I mean, who even has that thought? I mean, where did that even come from? I mean, why is that even driven into our society that we are not worthy? I mean, we were born into this world with all the gifts that are gifts of royalty and gifts of unlimitless. I mean, but just gosh, if you ask and it is given. I mean, ask and it is given. I mean, that to me, that's my creed. You know, when I look at, when I'm thinking of, oh, I'm not worthy, I mean, that is programming from the past. And it's unfortunate I mean, I want you to think of this from two perspectives. We grow up, and God bless our parents, and our siblings and our peers. They do the best that they can. Believe me, they do, or they would do better. But they have raised us to think certain thoughts, and they were raised to think certain thoughts. So these are subconscious thoughts that we believe that is a record playing up in our head. I am unworthy. I am unworthy. I am unworthy. It's such as, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are? You can't do this. You're not a smart enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not this enough. And these are just programs that go over and over again. If you could take that record out and set it on an old record player and you played it, you would be horrified. And so I want you to think that you're taking that and you're placing that in your children's brain. Because if you're thinking, I am unworthy, you are passing that down generation after generation. It is time to break that cycle. It is time to break that record. It is time to just hit it up against the table or the wall and crash it, because there is no one here on planet Earth that is not worthy. Money is energy. It loves to be spent. It's called currency. It loves to be cashed. It loves to give back. The more you give, the more you receive. You can't outgive it. Just try. You cannot outgive it. I mean, we give, and the next thing I know, we're getting so. I mean, I'm like, I am blown away by this. I didn't believe it at first. And so give in your service, give in your love, give in your knowledge, and more will be given back to you. It doesn't necessarily have to be currency, but money loves to be spent. It loves to be earned. It loves to go to someone that actually does care about it. Now, we hear the money is the root of all evil. We have to go study that. That's not what that scripture meant. It meant that we cannot just love money and nothing else. But I'm telling you, we can't hate it and have it come to us, because everywhere we go, people take it. And if you like to go to great places, if you like to take your family to great places, if you like to do fabulous things, then it's going to cost money. And so what we need to decide is, we are worthy, daggone it. We are deserving. Who even uses that word? We were born deserving. And so money, if you look at your checking account, look at your savings account, that is an indication of where the record that you are playing. So I say switch it out. It's the biggest work you will ever do. And that it starts with writing down what's on the record. So for the next 48 hours, I want you to write down every thought that you have about yourself and about money. It could be about your relationships. And you will see on that paper, you will hear your father, you will hear your mother, you will hear your coaches, your teachers, your peers. You will see them all in that. And you will thank them for giving you the life that you have. You will love them for who they are, because they didn't know better. Now you do, because I've just told you. So now there's no excuses. And then you look at that paper and you write a new record. You write new statements. I am worthy. I love to bring in money and have money go out. I love the currency of money. I love the energy of money. I love the thought around money. I love what money can do for me and my family and what it can do for the world. If you look at every situation out in the world that everyone's fighting about, it has to do with greed over money. But we don't have to be greedy. We don't even have to think greed thoughts, because what we're going to do with it is we are going to keep it in currency. We're going to keep giving and we're going to keep receiving. We're going to keep, we're going to, the more that you earn for yourself, it means your team is thriving. I hope you decide to take your team to $100,000 a month, because that means you got people making 50,000, 20,000, 10,000. That means you have more people making $5,000 a month than any other organization out there. So, I mean, you can be stingy with that all you want, but I'm telling you, I want to change people's lives. And I think you do too. And so this work, I just showed you how to do it. So if you don't, then you're going to be in 2022 asking the same question.
We are not here to be stingy. I
No,
love that. I love
no.
that so much. Okay, so I have a couple really good questions, but I'm going to ask you something from what you just said. So when I hear you talk, I'm like, okay, like your money mindset, I can tell obviously throughout the years you've put so much time, effort, and work into it. And I'm at a place now where, I mean, I've hit so many goals, but I'm almost in just rotation of I'm ready for my next goal. I'm ready for my next goal. And I have a big goal of 160,000 a month this year, Black Diamond, and I'm hungry for it. And I am doing all of the things that I've always done. I know I've asked this before, but maybe on a different level you can share with everybody else too. But you know, what do I need to do to make my mindset match that 160? You know, because I don't feel like it's the work.
It's not. See, all right, let me give it to you this way. I love this question. So everyone write your number down. For Christy, it's 160. Okay, now you got to write it down. If you don't write it down, how's it going to happen? I mean, we've got to put it out there in a big, bold way. So I'm going to give you a minute, not a minute, but a half a second. And I want you to write down what your goal is as far as monthly earnings. Because when you hear $160,000 a month, when a lot of you hear that, you're like, oh my gosh, oh wow. But let me give you perspective. There are people in this world that say, I spend that every month. That pays my expenses. I have a plane, I have homes all over the world. I have 85 cars. I mean, you know, they got planes, helicopters, and all the stuff. And so they're thinking, how could I possibly live off that? So that's perspective. Okay. Now, we don't want to belittle anything. My first monthly goal was $1,000 a month. Christy didn't start out saying $160,000 a month. Believe me, she's grown to that. However, she hasn't grown to that because she just asked that question. Had she grown to that, she would not need to ask the question. And I love that she's bold enough to ask it. So whatever your number is, $1,000 to now $160,000 a month, it needs to be able to feel normal. Okay? Common. It's a common everyday thought. It's normal. I'm making $160,000. Oh my gosh, that's so normal. That is common sense in my family. That is everyday common knowledge. Okay. For instance, those of you who are married, you know, the day you got married, and even the day before, and the year you got engaged, or the day you got engaged, you felt married, right? It felt natural. It felt common. It felt ordinary. It felt perfect. Okay, so you accepted it before it ever happened. I'm going to be Mrs. Christensen. You know, I knew I walked down the aisle before I ever walked down the aisle multiple times. I could see Dave at the end of the aisle. I could see him waiting for me. It felt natural. I saw my gown. I saw the people. I saw the flowers. We planned on it. So $160,000 a month. Call your accountant and say, look, I'm going to be making $160,000 a month. I want to make sure that you're aware of this. We need to plan for this. Now, every December, we just did this. We go to our accountant, we sit down, we have a conversation. We also go to our financial people. And so we sit down with both, and usually we have our banker in there. So there's 3, 4, 5 people. And in the beginning, there was one guy sitting in a small room in Roanoke, Virginia. And I'll never forget it. And I would say, Rick, this upcoming year, I'm going to be making X amount of dollars. And Dave would just be looking at me like he could fork me. Now, this went on for about 3 solid years because he would give it back in the car. Why did you tell him that? He is going to plan on that. He's going to do quarterly taxes based on that income, Pam. And you don't know, it's up in the air if you're going to make that. I said, no, Dave, that is what I will earn the next year. And for 3 solid years, he would look at me like I was crazy. And on the 4th year, he's like, what are we going to make? What are we going to make this year? And he finally caught hold of it. And now he's like, what are we going to do? He's speaking French to me. But, we as in family, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? So, Christy, set your life up for it. Expect it. Who are you going to give back? How much a percentage of that? Who is that going to? Map it out. It's a business plan. That's what this is. And then it becomes more real. See, the rest of you are just dreaming. Oh, I'd love to have $5,000 a month. Well, what would that do for you? How much debt could you wipe out with that? Write it down, $5,000 a month. Okay, so I'm going to take 10% of that and I'm going to give it back. I'm going to take this percentage of this and I'm going to pay off this debt. I really want to get rid of this debt. I'm going to chop out this debt. And so that's what I would do. I didn't keep it in la land. I put it down and made it factual. And I lived in the dream of that. I lived in the day of that. And I'm telling you, when you do that, it's like miracles happen. Doors open. People come into your life. People come into your business. The right accountant shows up. Well, I don't have an accountant. Well, get one. You're a business owner now. You can be expensing everything. You could make money when you don't even make money. You wonder why high profile people with all these businesses don't pay taxes. They use tax laws in their favor. Get smart. Don't stay in the dark. Wake up and understand that you have an opportunity here to really change your life. And so you just prepare. Well, you're going to be paying about almost 40% of that in taxes. Now, don't let that be doom and gloom. I hope you pay millions in taxes because that means you're making millions. Okay, so embrace that, breathe through that. Let that thought of I've got to pay taxes break free from you because a lot of people that will hold them back. So when you write down, here's another homework assignment. All right, I am earning $160,000 a month. What crops up? What makes your mouth get dry? What thought comes up? What stops your heart from beating? It's impossible. That's too hard. That takes too many people. And here you are on your calculator figuring out how many people need to come into your business in order to earn the cabs, those leadership bonuses off of that. Forget that stuff. That's not up to you. All right, here it is. Ask and it is given. There is nothing in the middle of that. Ask and it is given. Okay, there's nothing in the middle. Ask and then write down how everybody you're going to talk to, write down how many hours you're going to work, write down how many people you have to meet, write down how many leadership bonuses you need, write down how much you're going to do this and how much you're going to do that and how hard this is going to be. Write all that down, then I might give it to you. If you're worthy. No, that's why even evil people get their stuff. We wonder about that too. They asked, it was given. You know, there, there's no respecter of persons here. There are believers. That's it. So when I want something, I'm telling you, I got this so down, Christy. It took me years to understand this. This can't be that simple. It just, now that doesn't mean we don't show up. But when we show up, we're making $160,000 a month show up. People can sense it. They think you got that written across your forehead. They sense it. You will get verbiage to post that makes your skin ripple. The thrill bumps come up. You're like, where did that come from? You know, every author of every book will say, the book was written through me. And I used to get confused about what does that mean? You wrote the book. Well, writer's block is when you're trying to write it, when you're trying to force it. When you get in the zone of writing, it flows. It just is an easy flow. When you get in the flow of making money, it just flows. You can't stop it if you tried. And the way you stop it is overthinking it or the unworthiness thoughts. So $160,000 a month is no different than making $160 a month. Yes, it takes more people, it takes bigger business, but who said you had to do it all? Why did you say you had to do it all? That's just your ego talking. Why don't you just allow that into your life and say, I'm an effective leader. I wake up every day doing this. I'm taking care of my family, my friends, I'm taking care of my business. And when you get a lead, act on it because you don't know where that lead came from. You don't know who that lead is. That could be your $160,000 a month lead, the person that actually comes in and brings a huge team into your business. See, it's because you asked, it is given. It's really that simple.
Oh my gosh. All right. I just wrote down a bunch of notes. I feel like this is a personal coaching call with just you and I, because that really is my thing. Like, I'm pretty good at, okay, like asking you shall receive, you know, like, but I always think, but how? Okay, let me break it down because I need to do the work. But I think that's where it's just done. It's done, Pam. Oh, I'm so hyped right now. Okay. So I got this question from one of my leaders. Obviously, she makes great money. She said, how do you get over the resentment and pride of your husband not bringing in as much as you do?
If your husband's not bringing in as much as you
Yeah, so
do,
she makes more than her husband, and you know, she was kind
yay,
of
yay. You know, I mean, he should be blessed. I hope he feels blessed. I always made more than mine. He's never cried about it. I never cried about it. You know, it it's not gender specific here. I mean, look, you're obviously a bigger dreamer. You know, you just believe more in the money. Maybe he doesn't, and so that's okay. You know, my husband is just not the dreamer that I am. He's just he would always say, well, why do we need more than this? And I'm like, we don't need more than this, but I want it. I desire it. I know that it's there for me. It's a calling. It's calling me. It's like calling me. It's calling me to that. And I know that if I go there, not only will I go there, but countless thousands will go there. It doesn't mean that he's less than me, or it doesn't mean maybe his love language is just being cherishing you and the family. And it's not about money to him. That's not his love language. and I know it's not for mine, but I'm telling you what my husband has done is he is taking the money that I have earned and he has duplicated it through his talents that he learned in the stock market, which came later in life. And so maybe your husband's just waiting to wake up. But if you go through life thinking less than of him, he can feel that. You know, it's hard on men when the woman when the woman in their life earns more because that's not how society has raised them. So he's already feeling the pain of that. He may not voice it, but he is. And I had to respect that of Dave. I had to know that that was not his destiny. That was not his calling. That was my calling. But he came to the call and rose to the call later in life when there was this wealth there that he felt he could be responsible for as well, but in a different way. So I have friends, best friends, that never joined me, never once joined me. And at this time in their life, they would love to retire from their jobs, but they can't. And now they look back and say, I wish I had joined you. But it wasn't their calling then. They could today if they chose to. But again, we have got to let people off the hook, you know, even if they're in our family. They are there for different reasons. Maybe he's just there to love you. Maybe he's just there to worship you in the way that a husband worships a wife. And it's a beautiful thing. So love on him, respect him. And if you build belief in him for all the other things that he does, he may rise to the occasion. But I never looked at my husband less than because of economic reasons.
I love that. That is so much. And I think that's probably exactly what she was looking for. Okay. So, when you lived constantly live constantly in survival mode, how do you learn to dream bigger and beyond day-to-day survival? And I know this person, she's just going through a lot in her personal life.
Mm-hmm. We all do. We all go through. I have gone through so many deaths, births, trials, and tribulations in my life, all through this, probably even more through this. I mean, it's called life. And so let's eliminate the word survival. Okay. Let's instead call it life. Because if we think survival, we'll live in survival for the rest of our life. There's always going to be something that's going to come. And instead, look at it like a chance for growth, an opportunity to expand, an opportunity to look at it differently and say, okay, I have been taught that God is not going to give me more than I can handle. And I'm going to respect that. But I don't want this anymore. I don't want this to keep reoccurring. Let's learn the wisdom from what we're going through. That's the number one reason I believe that we're here, is to learn and gain wisdom. So if something continues to come into your life, one thing after another, set back as though it's not your life. Okay? I want you to set back, step outside of yourself and take a look at it. Okay? And know that you are surviving it. You're here. You have gotten through these things. But what wisdom have you gained? And I really want you to write that down. This happened and I gained this. And I don't need that lesson anymore. There were so many times when I'm like, why does this keep happening? because I did not learn from it enough to change my behavior. I didn't learn enough to change. People go, I'm just in such credit card debt. Well, quit using them. Yeah, and once I quit using them, it stopped. But I felt like I had to use them to survive. And that wasn't true. That wasn't true at all. So look outside of yourself. It's a different way to look at things, and set back and just kind of like look at your life as though it's someone else's, and look at every what you call survival thing that you have gone through, and ask yourself, what wisdom can I gain from this, because I no longer want this in my life. I don't want it. Now, if it's a death, something like that, this again, what can we gain from that? How can we honor that, but move through it, but move through it. And that's how I have to look at death. I have to honor whoever that was, honor their life, but also understand that it passes. It's this rite of passage. I do need to, you do need sometimes to step in there and mourn, and truly give yourself the opportunity to mourn and not feel guilty over that. But you don't want to stay in it. You want to move through it. Allow the emotions to come up, all the emotions to come up. One of the reasons they say we get so sick is we stifle down those emotions. We push them down and push them down and push them down. And then that energy gets stuck. And in that place, we get sick. We start to feel ill. This is all science. I'm not making this up. This is science-based. It has to do with our thoughts, creating these places of stuckness in our bodies, which can create a tremendous amount of pain, not only in the outside of our life, but in the inside of our bodies. And so one of the ways to release this is to recognize that there are emotions there that I am stifling, and to allow those emotions to come up, allow them to be felt deeply within your heart, and if need be, just cry like you've never cried before, but allow them to move on, allow them to be released. That is the biggest thing that we can do for your term survival. But now let's again switch that to life circumstances, and let's have a strong desire to work through them, to allow the emotions to rise up, to allow us to feel every aspect of that emotion. And once we do, it drops. And that's a beautiful thing.
Well, everybody said they're crying in the chat. I think it's so powerful because, at the end of the day, I know so many people, especially my leaders, like life happens and they're so just hungry for the growth of this business, and they find themselves, pulled from every direction. And so it's just, I think that was a powerful question. Okay. So how should I encourage my team when they come to me discouraged? I want to be a good leader and support them, yet I don't want to join their pity party. I encourage them to do self-development and getting their mind in a good place, but I want to uplift them as well.
Okay, so the biggest thing that I've learned on this is that's not our job. Okay, so what is our job? Our job is to when your team comes to you discouraged, when they come to you saying, I'm doing everything that I can, nothing's working, we can go back and look at that work and see that that's more, I would say 99% of the time, that's not true. There's other underlying things there. Again, it's lack of belief. It's all the things we talked about really in that first question. So what when I released that responsibility to try to lift people up out of their complacency, out of their lack of motivation, out of their desire, out of their boredom, out of their thought that this is not working. When I released that and decided, you know what, I am going to build this. I am going to focus 80% of my time and energy on bringing in new distributors and new customers. And my team is going to get so empowered by that. And I spoke this out loud. My team is going to get so empowered by that. They're going to see such a rise in my check, in my energy, and my desire to win, that they're either going to rise up with me or they're going to fall away. Because you just can't motivate people. I mean, the world is trying. Every coach tries, every teacher tries. But what does that coach do? He's out in that game playing hard. Now, he may not be on the field playing like a player, but he or she is in the game. They got the game plan. They show up every day early. They stay late. They're there to win. And so I knew if I was there to win, and it's a personal win, that there would be enough people that would rise to the occasion and want to win with me. And some people, they don't. They say they do, but they don't do the work. And so what you do is you do a Zoom like this. You do collective work where you put everyone together and you share with them what's working for you. That's the best way to teach and coach. What's working for you? Your Zoom, your trainings are all interactive and they're on the job trainings. I mean, people show up to work. That should be the main emphasis for 2021, as it should have been for the last 20 some years. It is actually doing the work, because we can talk, prod, and have you ever noticed the people that are actually doing it on your team don't really reach out? They have a technical question more so than a motivational question. And the people that have the motivational questions aren't doing the work. They're not doing the technical side of the work. They're just dreaming about it, thinking that if they talk to you enough, that maybe something will pop out of you into them and they'll be motivated. But that's not the way it works. And when I could release that from my thoughts of leadership, we exploded. And that's not harsh. Any good, effective leader will tell you that. All right, you're the CEO of your own company. An employee comes to you constantly, complaining, whining, lack of motivation, doesn't show up early, doesn't show up on time, certainly takes longer lunches, scrolls through all social platforms just playing, not trying to self-develop. You would fire them. You would fire them. They wouldn't be working for you. Now, we're all volunteer here, so we don't fire people. So we don't have that ability. However, that doesn't mean that you look at people and decide who you want to work with. Now, this is not harsh. This is reality. This is, I'm going here. Who wants to come up with me and go? And so the non-motivated people that are just not actually doing it may wake up, may know, hey, she's not paying attention to me, or they'll leave. But your job is not to do that. And that is just the most beautiful thing, because I realized I was spending 80% of my time with ineffective people. They weren't doing it. They weren't working. They were just complaining. And it was draining me. I became a non-worker. I just became a motivator. I became a manager instead of a leader. And I don't know about you, but nobody likes to be managed. Nobody wants to be managed. So here's the beautiful thing about this. Here's something else that you can do that's so powerful. Write down the kind of team that you have. Who are they? What do they look like? What do they act like? What are their behaviors? Call it out. Again, asking it is given. Call it out. What kind of people do I want on my team? And, I did a live earlier. Talk about the solution, not the problem. The solution is the opposite of the problem. The problem are non-workers, okay? People that are demotivated, people that don't show up. I know you care about them. I do too, but I'm going to show them the right way, just like I showed my children. I don't, I'll teach you how to bathe yourself at 2, 3, 4 years of age, because I'm not going to be bathing you when you're 14, 15, 16. And I want you to be able to do it right. I'm going to teach you how to do your laundry when you're 10, 11, 12 years old, because I want you to be able to leave home and do your laundry. The same with cooking. And so why do we expect or assume that our new people can't do things? Why do we think that they have to be motivated? I'm going to attract the most highly driven, motivated, desiring individuals in the world to me, because that's who I am. I have decided that's who I am. I am not the opposite of that. Now, that doesn't mean past seeds won't sprout, and here come some of those people, but they're there and they can watch. But that doesn't mean that I go down and talk to them, which will demotivate me. Hasn't that happened? You are demotivated. You start listening to them. The next thing you know, you start questioning things. You start looking around and saying, are there things wrong? She's saying everybody's saying this. And when they say everyone or everybody, it's never true. It's one or two people. And so I just know for me, I'm going to make a list of the kind of people that I want in my business. And I'm going to look at that list and become every single one of those attributes, every single one of those. And that list will show up in the form of a Christy. And here she comes. And Christy never asked me for anything. I don't call her and say, are you motivated today? Are you working today? Oh, Christy, do you want $160,000 a month? No, she comes to me and says, hey, I've got this great team full of great leadership. I would just love to start the new year off with you. And by the way, I'm going to be making $160,000 a month. Well, Christy's on my list. I'm not surprised. There you have it.
Okay, you are incredible. Okay, so there's a few more questions, but they're kind of just little ones. So I want to end because that was just so freaking awesome. So I want to end with two things. So we're going to make our list of our team that we are bringing in, and the couple of things that you had us do. Now, if there was a newbie that said, okay, I'm going to do the work, or I am doing the work, what should I start with tomorrow morning? Or how should I start my day? Or what should I start reading or listening to? What is one thing that you would have them start to do to start to shift their mindset? Because we know it's not just one Zoom that's going to change everything.
No, all right. So you're new, brand new. Really get deep into your why. Why are you here? And let it pour out of you. Again, it's a cry moment. Just let it just come up. Just let those emotions come up, and allow yourself to be Cinderella for the moment, and go after that glass slipper, and live in that palace with that Prince Charming, and really want it all. You want everything. You want everything that you've held back. So you develop that why, and you keep adding to it, and you live in that why, and then you get up and you start gathering customers, and you start sponsoring distributors. And while you're doing that, self-development, but don't self-development and then expect that to happen on its own. It's all cohesive. It's like my perfect day that I talk about: getting up, taking care of the family, reading an inspirational book, working out, getting the house in order, self-development, but banging out the calls, doing the posts, doing the work, asking for the order, asking for to take a look at the opportunity. That's how you get paid. You don't get paid for anything else. So let's start getting paid right away. Finish out the steps to success. That is your focus. Get those customers. Make sure you're on auto ship. Try the products. Go live. Go live. Go live. Share the products that are working for you. We got a new product, gummies. I pray. I'm looking at my stomach every day, just knowing it's just gonna melt away like butter. It is just going to melt away, and I'm expecting those gummies to work. I mean, who wouldn't want to eat 2 gummies twice a day, and you look down and you can see your toes? I mean, how brilliant would that be? And I'm expecting it to work. And so what do you expect? Expect this to work. Expect, what's your big check going to be this year? Put it down there. Dream about it. Talk about it amongst yourself, and don't care what anyone else thinks. Oh my God, they think about you for 1 second and then they're all thinking about their world again. So do not give your power away to anyone, even a skeptical spouse. Believe me, when you get that comma in your check, everything changes for them. And that's truly what it takes. So I think you should just say flat out, 2021 is my year. I want it all. And we don't have to say we deserve it or we're worthy of it. We know that. That's a fact. That is a fact. And so show up in it. Not only do you write down the type of team that you want, you pray over it. You're thankful for that team. You say, God, thank you for this team. Even if it's just you, you're going to pray them in. You're going to say, this is my team. Thank you for my team. We're going to live in the faith of that. When we say things about our team that are the opposite of that, we wonder why they keep showing up that way. You prayed over that. Ask and it is given. That's what a prayer is thought. And so if you're saying my team is not working, oh, we'll give you more of a non-working team. Oh, my team doesn't do that. Well, we'll give you more of that your team doesn't do. And so we've got to change our thoughts and our prayers and our beliefs and our faith and our knowingness and focus in on that list and become that list and know that our team is that. You will change. If you pray over your team tonight, I want you to do it and pray big and be thankful and don't think about the ones that are not working. If you got one that's working, you just pray hard over the work, over the people that joined, that paid the money, that are buying the products, that your team is expanding. And I'm telling you, by in the morning, you're going to be shocked at the messages that you're getting, that for the dead people that woke up on your team. It will be shocking to you. And so after you're shocked, do it again and continue to do that. You're going to see the biggest difference if you just do that one simple thing.
You are so incredible, Pam. Okay, last question.
Okay.
How can I purchase your new book?
Love it. Well, it officially goes on sale tomorrow, but you can purchase it on Amazon, and Audible should be out soon. But there's nothing like getting a book. It's kind of like at the end of each chapter, there's questions with lines to answer those. So it's almost like a book with a workbook built into it. But the beautiful part about it is it's really my story from the beginning, which is where most of us are. We're in the beginning of the journey of being an entrepreneurial woman. And it's really based on our industry, but it would be so good for anybody that's really wanted to step out and do something different in their life. And there's stories galore in there, and I think it's a great, easy read. It was intentional for that. There's nothing in depth in there, but there's a lot of nuggets. And so I'm praying that you get as much out of it as I put into it. It was a 2-year work, and I can't believe it's out there. And it's been the most humbling experience because it's so hard for me to talk about myself. I love talking about all of you, and it's really hard for me to do that. But I'm so passionate about getting it out there because I hope that it just takes people to another level. I mean, that's the goal of the book, is for you to get over yourself, to see that you are worthy, that you can have the life that you've dreamt of, that we all deserve it. And we should all have it, but we have to go for it. It's not going to come to us. We have to meet it. We really have to meet it. And that's what it's about. And of course, you know, Christy's been on my podcast. There's so much information on the podcast. If, especially, I don't care where you are in the business, there's all kinds of tips from getting started all the way up to huge leadership. Lots of 2 years of information in that podcast that will really help. I wish that I'd had a platform like that early on to listen to, because I think I could have overcome a lot of obstacles. Continue to follow Christy and her journey. You are a big part of it. She wouldn't be here without you. She highly respects all of you. It's a great encourager. Other people on our team that you just love and admire. And I love, outside of this, I love listening to Ed Milet. I love his podcast. Is, to me, is just straight up. Jim Rohn, Rohn. Anything he lives in the past now, but he's still very present because he's got a lot of information out there on YouTube. He's just 35 years in the industry of teaching and coaching, and very successful. So, you know, and within our organization, just wealth of knowledge. So there's no reason, but also I want you to realize this: it's an inside job. It's inside. Everything out here is just fine. So it's an inside job. Thank you, Christy.
And the book is pink, so I love it.
Yeah, you know, we kind of went with trending colors and a soft approach, but
I love it.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pam. You are so incredible. And you guys, I will have this recording up probably tonight. And thank you so much, Pam. We appreciate you. And I hope you guys all have a good night.